Hey guys, it's been a while. In today's video, I just want to give you sort of an update about what I've been up to this year, as well as talk a little bit about a little challenge that you can do to make your childishly easy Pokemon games a little bit more difficult and interesting. And then lastly, I'm going to talk briefly about sort of where I'm headed with this channel. It's been a while since I've posted a video. And yeah, links are going to be in the description if you want to skip to any particular topic. Yeah, let's get into it. So 2022 has been a bit of an interesting year for me. Personally, I'm about a few weeks out from getting married, which is insane. I'm very happy. I'm very excited that all of the time, energy, hard work that mostly my fiance, to be honest, but also me, as well as money that herself, me, both of our parents have put into this, is about to come to fruition. So that is something I'm really looking forward to, personal front, and that's taken up a lot of a good chunk of my time this year. But this is Sam Van, the gamer, man, and I'm here to talk about video game stuff. So as far as what I've been up to, I want to say since November-ish of 2021, well, I went down a bit of a dark rabbit hole in the Pokemon gaming community, and I started doing Pokemon Nuzlockes. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's essentially your standard run of a Pokemon game with a few very drastic exceptions. First and foremost, gotta catch them all. Yeah, that shit doesn't apply to Nuzlockes. Just like it doesn't apply to Sword and Shield. Ooh, but yeah, essentially, you have to catch the first Pokemon you encounter in any new area, and that's it. You must also nickname said Pokemon. And then, most importantly, if that Pokemon faints in battle, it is considered dead. And you have to either box it, never to use it again, or release it. Even if it's your starter Pokemon, even if it's a legendary Pokemon, if you use those, I don't. Makes the game too easy. But yes, if it faints, you either have to box it or release it. Now, while those are the standard rules of a Nuzlocke, there's definitely more that you can apply to make your run a little bit more soul crushing. I played in set mode, as well as I played without over leveling. So for those of you who don't know what that means, every Pokemon game comes with two modes that you can play it in. There's switch mode and set mode. Switch being the sort of default mode. And essentially with switch mode, when you're facing an opponent trainer and you take out their Pokemon, the game will let you know what that trainer's next Pokemon is going to be, giving you time to prepare, switch out your Pokemon to a Pokemon that's best suited for that next Pokemon. Set mode doesn't have that. In set mode, you're given no preview. The opponent Pokemon trainer just, boom, they throw out their next Pokemon, and you got to deal with it. That one change alone has made all of these Pokemon games so much more fun. I used to always play in switch mode for every single Pokemon game I played before doing Nuzlockes, and now even if even if I'm not doing a Nuzlocke of a game, I'm probably gonna play in set mode because it's more fun and dynamic that way. As far as over leveling goes, no over leveling. That's pretty simple. I didn't over level my team past the highest level Pokemon of the next gym leader or Elite Four champion I was about to face, to make it sort of as equal as possible when I went into the fight, which again made it more dynamic. There's also things that can make your run a little bit more reasonable, like the dupes or duplicate clause, where, a bit of a fumble there, where essentially if your first Pokemon encounter in a new area is a Pokemon that you've already caught or have had on your team but sadly passed away, or if that Pokemon is in the same evolutionary line of a Pokemon that you've caught. Say you have a Pidgey, but you encounter a Pidgeotto. You don't have to count it. You don't have to catch it. You can essentially re-roll for the next encounter and just keep doing it until you encounter something that you haven't caught yet. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Essentially, if you have really enjoyed Pokemon games in the past, but you just really, especially more and more recently, have found them lacking in the difficulty department, then this Nuzlocke challenge is something I would really recommend for you. And even though it's got death in it, the challenge in there is fun. I would highly recommend it. I started doing Nuzlockes because I had been watching videos on it by Pokemon Challenges and Jaden Animations around the same time as, in my opinion, the very unsatisfying initial release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And so watching those videos definitely made me intrigued by the concept of doing a Nuzlocke. But on top of that, I was, with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I was very frustrated with the lack of initial Pokemon Home support, as well as the fact that they had neglected some of the cooler changes to that world that were introduced with Pokemon Platinum. Instead, deciding to be essentially a fucking up-resed carbon copy of the inferior Diamond and Pearl games. What? Come at me. Platinum's better. Get over it. So I figured, fuck it. Let's try this Nuzlocke thing out with Platinum, which is supposed to be one of the harder games to Nuzlocke. And if I hate it, or if I get my ass kicked in White, then it will be the first and last Nuzlocke that I end up doing. And man, did it whoop my ass. I never wiped, but good lord, it was a struggle to get to Cynthia, with at least one of my team members dying at almost every single gym leader battle or major team galactic encounter. I lost so many goddamn Pokemon even just to training them up against wild encounters. If I wasn't allowing for trade evolutions, I would have been fucked, because a good 50% of my team going through the journey consisted of them. So, Sam, you might be saying, this sounds like it sucks. Why would you ever put yourself through this? Well, have you ever played a Souls game like Elden Ring, which also came out this year? Because let me tell you, a Nuzlocke is a walk in the park compared to those games. And yet, that satisfying feeling of going up against a gym leader or Elite Four team member, or even the champion, the Elite Four champion, in a fight that you were dreading and coming out on top, or the feeling of, oh, fuck, that you get from just slightly squeaking by in a challenging encounter, or more often than not, the crushing, frustrating feeling that you get from losing a ride or die team member that's been with you through the entire journey, runs through these games just like they run through the Souls games. So yeah, I started up my Platinum Nuzlocke in the tail end of 2021, which culminated in the climactic clash against Cynthia in, I would say, around mid-December, the low-res video of which I will upload soon. And as I wrapped up that journey and reflected on the highs and lows and looked ahead at the new year, 2022, approaching me, the obvious question that came to mind was, well, shit, now what? And after a bunch of humming and hawing and trying out different Pokemon games and making a mad dash to get games before the 3DS eShop closed, which was a thing, I came up with a gargantuan task. I was going to go back to the start of the Pokemon franchise and work through every generation of Pokemon in the Nuzlocke format. Why? Well, I could say it's because I'm an idiot and I'm dumb, and some of you might agree with that. I could say that I decided to do it because it's one last childhood hurrah before I head off into married life. Or I could even go really deep into it and say my reasoning was Platinum wasn't my favorite game before starting this Nuzlocke experience, but in doing a Nuzlocke, it made me appreciate it far more than I had before, making me focus on the systems at play that I could use to my advantage to come out on top. So in that sense, if I did a Nuzlocke of the other games, in a similar fashion, would I appreciate that game more or less? Would a game that I loved to play normally become a dreaded experience in a Nuzlocke, or vice versa? Yeah. But also, I decided to do this challenge because I wanted to. So, yeah, there's that too. By the time I came up with my definitive list to work through, it consisted of Pokemon Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, Fire Red, Heart Gold, White, White 2, but specifically White 2 in challenge mode, which was a bitch to set up. I had to reach out to my very good friend, our caddy, who had a copy of Black 2. I had to get him to beat said copy of Black 2, and in order to unlock the challenge key on the copy, then have him mail said copy of Black 2 out to me, because he lives in Ottawa, I live in Toronto, and then transfer over the challenge key to my copy of White 2 so that I could unlock challenge mode, so that I could play it right from the jump in challenge mode. Yeah, it was a bitch to set up. Pokemon Y, Alpha Sapphire, Ultra Sun, Shield, and maybe Brilliant Diamond. It's quite a list, I know. But it's completely feasible to say that I could get through that whole list in a year, right? Totally doable. Right? Yeah, so the thing about these games is they're, especially if you're not playing like a modded version where you can up the game speed or play with rare candy cheats and strats, these games are really long, and they only get longer if you're not that good or inexperienced at Nuzlockes like me, because every single time you lose a team member, that's hours on hours that you have to sink into training up a new team member. And as it turns out, those hours on hours, they fucking add up. And if that new team member that you're training up happens to kick the bucket while you're training it, then you have to spend even more time training up a brand new fucking team member. If you take that and add in the time that you have to put into getting some of the rarer TMs in these games from some of these games, game corners, fuck, these games are not quick. So out of this entire list, I got through yellow all the way through to fire red. I'm about half the way through heart gold. I'm just gearing up for the first fight against the Johto League, the Elite Four. I'm sorry, but playing Crystal while Elden Ring was out, or Emerald and Fire Red while Monster Hunter Sunbreak was out, was a bit of a struggle. To say that I had distractions this year is a bit of an understatement. But yeah, including Platinum, I've done 5 Nuzlocks, 4 in this year, and I intend to keep on working through that list to the very probably bitter end. I'm excited to get through Heart Gold. I'm really enjoying it, as well as to eventually get to my run of White 2 in challenge mode, as well as Ultra Sun. Those 2 specifically are supposed to be really hard games to do Nuzlocke runs of, so I'm interested to see if I can survive them, or if I'll wipe. I'm interested to see that. Keep in mind, however, Scarlet and Violet come out soon. God of War comes out sooner. Next year, we're getting a new Fire Emblem in January. We're getting a new Zelda in May. We're getting a Spider-Man game at some point next year. It's quoted to come out 2023. I am also working on getting through Xenoblade 2, having just finished my playthrough of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which was dope. I love the game, and I'm super eager to get to Torna, Golden Country, as well as Xenoblade Chronicles 3. These games are fucking amazing. If you haven't picked them up, I heavily recommend them. Oh yeah, and I'm getting married. So yeah, with that in mind, I would say I could probably get through 3, maybe 4 more Nuzlocks next year. I know the further I get into the franchise, the more quality of life things are introduced into the games, but also Heart Gold is a long ass fucking game. It's a really long game. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm determined to get through that list, but I hope I can get through it next year, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm gonna post the final few battles of the Nuzlockes that I've completed in the next coming days. Apologies in advance for the quality of the videos. I don't have a way to stream my content from my DS and 3DS, so the majority of the games you're gonna be seeing right on that screen there, and Emerald and Fire Red. I was playing on this little teeny tiny guy. You remember when screens used to be that tiny? God, it's crazy. But yeah, so apologies for the quality, but I'm putting them up there just as proof that I did them. I freaking did them, okay? Now, as far as the channel goes, I'm no longer going to be streaming. So for the handful of individuals who checked out my videos on Nier Automata, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Tales of Arise, even a few odd videos on Cyberpunk 2077. I love you guys, but you're gonna have to check out walkthroughs somewhere else, or better yet, play the games yourself. I will instead be going back to my original game review format. This will mean that videos will be a little bit more sporadic, but it will afford me the time to play through and experience the game in its entirety on my time, as opposed to only when I can stream. I'm sorry, I have a full-time job and other obligations, so I unfortunately don't have the time to sink into trying and most likely failing to cultivate a streaming-based channel. So don't hate me, but that's where Sam Van the Gamer Man is going. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially if you stayed to the end of this video with me. Stay tuned for more videos of my final battles in my Pokemon Nuzlockes, as well as a future video view for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch. That game is so fucking good. I can't believe it came out originally on the Wii. It's so good. Anyway, I'm not doing the review here. I will work on the review for another video. As far as this video goes, thank you so much. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.